My friend is beating everyone in our online save using this downloaded tactic. How do we counter these tactics? This is a cry for help from a Football Manager player on Reddit. Okay, first of all, it's not so easy to counter an overpowered tactic in this game, but there might be a way to contain the pressure. We'll get into that in a few minutes, but let's see why this tactic is so good. The tactic was originally designed for Football Manager 2023, but I have given it a test run with Bath FC in the Vanarama National League. What league is this? Vanarama National League South. We tested this in Football Manager 2024. If you look at the league, you see that Bath actually finished in 2nd place, gaining automatic promotion after being predicted to finish in 18th place. Now, if you look at the competition stats, they had the 2nd highest points per game. Yeovil actually had 2.46 and Bath City at 2.17. They scored the 2nd most goals with 110. Now get this, Yeovil were predicted to win the league comfortably and Bath were predicted to finish in 18th place. I thought this was weird, so I dug deeper into the DataHub. I was just looking for clues as to what made this tactic really successful. So just looking at the numbers, we can see that everything looks pretty basic with 2.34 goals per game and conceding 1.13, but Bath has non-expected penalty XG of 1.94, so they are expected to create enough chances from open play to score more than a goal per game. That is 1.94 goals without set pieces. Speaking of set pieces, if you go into the team stats and look at it in detail, Bath were the 5th highest in goals from corners. They had 15 goals altogether, 2 shy of 2nd place, which was Haverton Waterloo. Their cup run wasn't so great and they got knocked out pretty early. This helped them to have a fun ride punching above their weight in the league and securing promotion. The shape of the tactic is pretty basic and it's comfortable for lower league teams, and thanks to Football Manager's new player positioning and player awareness, the player roles are quite comfortable, so lower league players are going to adapt to it pretty easily. So if you're new to the channel, remember to hit that subscribe button so you can get notified when more Football Manager tactic videos like this do come out. If you do enjoy Football Manager tactic videos, do go to subscribe and hit. I go on to make Football Manager tactic videos like this very often, so if you do enjoy this kind of content, remember to subscribe to the channel so you can get more Football Manager content like this. Leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it, and if you have a tactic for me to review on the channel, let me know in the comment sections as well. So starting with the player roles, then you have in the goalkeeper slot, you have a super keeper that is playing on defend duty. He is going to stay deep and start counter attacks when the opposition are caught out of possession. We get 2 wing backs as well to provide width for the team in both advanced positions and in deeper areas. In midfield, you have a pairing of a defensive midfielder first and a segundo volante playing on the right hand side of him. So the segundo volante, by the way, is playing on attack, so he's going to get ahead and try to link up with the attackers. The wide players are inverted wingers on attack duty and they'll be helping out the 2 advanced forwards while leaving space for the wing backs to actually overlap and offer some width. Now these players have internal player instructions, but I will link the tactic in the description so you can download it for yourself and then try out the tactic. I will go over the player instructions later in the video. For you guys that are playing on console, you would want to recreate the tactic manually, so I'm going to go over the player instructions soon. For team instructions, the mentality for this tactic is balanced, which I feel is good for teams in the non-league, especially teams like Bath that are kind of like mid-table. You don't really want to over attack or go too deep and try to defend too much, so it's quite good as balance. But if you're coming up against a weaker side in non-league football, like those ghost teams that are not really known, you can feel free, go on attacking. So we'll start with the out of possession instructions, and it's quite weird because at first you have a much lower defensive line, which is something you don't see very often in Football Manager, and you also have it paired with a high press, so there's a huge gap here in midfield, but it somehow works in the game because your team is able to actually defend in the kind of like low block in a way because you will have numbers back, but when they are out of possession they will have to force that high press and try to win the ball back. They have a much more often trigger press, they're preventing short goalkeeper distribution, and they're also getting stuck in. When the team is in transition, then the goalkeeper is going to roll the ball out and he's going to distribute it quickly. You're also asking your team to counter and to counter press. Now when the team is in possession, they're going to play with a short passing directness. They will pass into space. You're also playing low crosses when you're in the final third. You ask your team to run at defense. Now it's important that since you have wing backs overlapping, you could ask your team to focus the play down the left and on the right hand side, and also look for the overlaps on the left and on the right hand side. Now the one more instruction left for the in possession is the tempo, and then you can go for a slightly higher tempo. The original tactic has it all the way up in higher tempo. Now if you came up against this OP tactic, how do you defend against it? Reddit users advise that you play a defensive formation like a 4-1-4-1 or a 4-2-3-1 DM wide. staying compact and looking to play with a vertical counter-attack. They also recommend playing with a 5-3-2 as this offers numerical superiority in defense and allows you to soak up the right amount of pressure and to launch quick counter-attacks. Now, for the internal player instructions, for those of you playing on console, Xbox or PS5, you can have a super keeper playing on defend, tackle harder. You have ball playing defenders, and I think I missed this when I was trying to build the tactic. Ball playing defenders are playing on defend, dribble more and tackle harder are both their instructions. You have wing backs on the left and the right hand side playing on support duty, and they both have identical instructions. Take more risks, shoot less often, cross less often, dribble more, sit narrower, tackle harder and mark tighter. Your defensive midfielder is on defend and he is going to take more risk and tackle harder. Your segundo volante is on attack, is going to take more risk, move into channels and tackle harder. Your inverted wingers are both on attack, stay wider and tackle harder, and you have two advanced forwards tackling harder. Now for set pieces and opposition instructions, FM24 is quite different, so I don't use preset instructions and I don't have anything that I can give you to download right now. I create my set pieces and apply my opposition instructions game by game depending on my opponents, and if you want to see how I go about doing that, you can check the description for a link to a video on set pieces and opposition instructions. I hope you find it quite useful, and if you do have any more questions, do let me know in the comment section. And if you go on to test out the tactic, do let me know what you think of this tactic. You can test it out and let me know if it worked out for you. I'll see you in the next video.